Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Oh my God. Hold on. I gotta close the door. The dog is barking. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Infamous channel. Y'all, we're going to do the reenactment of today's testimony with Dawn. The reason I'm doing today is because I want to show you how um, my one of my favorite attorneys, Westmoreland, did her thing. I'm being a little biased because Nicole is like one of my favorites. So being a little biased, I'm gonna do that one. Okay, sorry. So I was just give me a minute. I'm trying to get my folks ready for a second, y'all. Just give us a minute. Just give us a minute. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Just bear with us a second. My peeps are getting themselves together. Shout out to my readers who decided to help a girl out tonight at the last minute. I called upon them because I was like, we got to do this thing tonight. We got to do this reenactment because my folks need to hear what happened and we need to do it with them some attitude. We need to do it some attitude with some oomph. So, without further ado, guys, without further ado, let me introduce to you my cast. Today we have playing the judge, Miss JC. Hey, JC.
Hi, Miss Sylvia. How are you?
I'm
Hi,
doing
chat.
and playing Dawn as well as the prosecutor is Tiara.
Good evening.
And last but not least, playing Dawn and Miss Westmoreland is Mimi.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Mimi. All right, guys, we are getting ready to get started with our reenactment of today's episode, and it's with Miss Richard, and they said Rashad. They kept saying the name Rashad, Rashad. I was like, why do you keep saying Rashad? But it's Richard according to the U.S. way of saying it. But she says it in New Orleans French terminology, Rashad. All right, let's get rolling. Let me see. USA versus Sean Cone. All right, let's get started.
All righty. Please be seated. Welcome back, members of the jury. I hope you had a great weekend. Miss Richard, you understand you're still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Mimi, you're playing her right now.
Yeah, I was confused, but I got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Miss Steiner, you can proceed when ready.
thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Miss Richard.
Good morning.
Before the weekend, you testified regarding an incident involving an egg skillet in 2009 at Mr. Combs' residence. Do you recall that?
Yes.
If you can just,
Yes, please speak up.
Sorry.
you also testified that the following day, Mr. Combs called you back to his residence and made certain statements to you. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Can you please remind the jury the statements that Mr. Combs made to you at that time?
The relationship that he had, that was the incident. That incident was a passion, and that
Oh,
Cassie was okay.
hold on, y'all. I do have my Dawn. Y'all, I have my Dawn. She's finally made it. Sorry, guys. Dawn is here.
Okay.
Maya, you're Dawn.
Oh, it's my.
My. That's done, y'all. Sorry.
Okay, I'm Dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is new to me, so I'm trying to get it right.
So do you want to go ahead? We'll put you later on because we
Yeah.
already started. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
because I'm gonna get the transcript and then I'll be ready when you're ready for me.
Okay.
When Mr. Combs told you, and I believe it was Miss Harper,
Kalina Harper.
that you could go missing, what did you understand him to mean?
Objection, Your Honor,
It's overruled.
that we could die.
Miss Richard, how did you react when Mr. Combs threatened you in this manner?
I didn't react at all. Was shocked, but also scared because it was our first time really getting started to record. And that was my first time really being in a group with everybody. And I couldn't believe that this would be the beginning of the journey for us.
The group you're referring to, Miss Richard, is Diddy Dirty Money?
Dirty money.
Following the incident in Mr. Combs' residence in 2009, did you continue to see Miss Ventura while you were a member of Diddy Dirty Money?
I did.
Generally, where would you see her?
In the studio, in the hotels, events that we could have, performances we would have, and in the house as well.
Generally, how frequently would you see Miss Ventura?
Frequently.
After the incident in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles residence, were there other occasions when you observed acts of violence between Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura?
Yes.
How frequently did you observe Mr. Combs being violent with Miss Ventura?
Frequently.
Could you please describe for the jury what you observed generally?
Um, he would push her, choke her, drag her, slap her in the mouth. Um, I saw him kick her, um, punch her in the stomach.
Prior to witnessing those incidents, were you able to observe the interactions between Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura?
Yes.
And generally, based on your observations, what would prompt these acts of violence?
Objection.
It's overruled.
It varied. It could be Cass speaking up for herself. It could be random, like we wouldn't even know where it came from. It could be if she wanted to perform or she had an opinion about something. It just varied.
And when you state that it happens sometimes when Miss Ventura would speak up for herself, can you describe what you mean by that?
Cass is like quiet. She would be quiet. She had a quiet demeanor. She was soft. And when she have had these moments of like trying to stick up for herself, trying to be more for herself and wasn't having that, he would hurt her for that.
And when you refer to him, are you referring to Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Who, if anyone, from Mr. Combs' staff was present for these incidents of violence?
That varied too. It could be anyone from Harv Pierre to Capricorn Clark to Mia to D Rock to Bonds. It depends.
Generally, at a high level, can you describe the roles that Capricorn Clark and Mia served for the defendant?
They were assistants and also head of marketing, like brand work.
You also testified that members from his security staff will observe these incidents. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
Objection, Your Honor. May we have a time context to any of these testimony?
Hold on.
Objection.
Thank you. Is that an objection?
Yes. Yes.
Miss Steiner, can you rephrase the question?
yes, Your Honor. Ms. Richard, you testified that the first incident of violence that you observed between Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura was in 2009. Is that correct?
Yes.
And approximately when was the last incident
Which one?
of violence? Let me rephrase my question. You said you also observed violence frequently thereafter. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And that continued throughout the period of time in which you were a member of Diddy Dirty Money.
Yes.
And you were a member of Diddy Dirty Money from 2009 through 2011.
Correct.
And did and did and did those incidents of violence continue throughout that period of time?
Yes.
Can you specify, Ms. Richard, who from Mr. Combs' security staff witnessed incidents of violence?
Um, D Rock and Bonds.
Ms. Becker, can we please bring up what has been marked for identification and maybe in evidence? I apologize. As Government Exhibit 2A 2 202? Thank you. I believe this is in evidence. Miss Richard, do you recognize this image?
I do.
Who is this?
It's D Rock.
And can you please describe what D Rock's role was for Mr. Combs?
He was a bodyguard. He was also really close to Puff. Like they were close, like brothers.
Ms. Becker, can you please bring up what is in evidence as Government Exhibit 2A 201? Miss Richard, do you recognize this image?
Yes.
Who is depicted in it?
That's Bonds.
What was Bond's role for Mr. Combs?
Security.
You can take that down. Did D Rock and did D Rock and Bonds work for Mr. Combs the entire time you were a member of Diddy Dirty Money?
Yes.
How would D Rock and Bonds react to incidents of violence that they observed?
They wouldn't react. They wouldn't do anything.
Did you ever observe Miss Ventura with injuries after these instances of abuse?
Yes.
Where on her body?
Her face. When I say face, her eyes, her lips, her arms, her knees.
How, if at all, would Miss Ventura attempt to cover up or hide these injuries?
She would wear makeup, clothing, and sometimes sunglasses.
Did there come a time later in 2009 when you were in New York for a festival performance?
Um, yeah, we were in Central Park.
Which festival was this?
I don't know the name of it, but we were announcing our group. It was in Central Park.
Again, the group is Diddy Dirty Money.
Diddy Dirty Money.
And in connection with that festival, was there a time that you and Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs were in Mr. Combs' New York residence?
Correct.
Where is that residence located?
New York City.
Who else, if anyone, was present?
Kalina Harper, Cassie, and myself.
What happened while you were in that residence?
Kalina and I were in the bathroom getting ready, doing our makeup, and Puffy and Cassie were in the hallway arguing.
What did you observe happen next?
He punched her in the face.
When you say he, are you referring to Mr. Combs?
Sean Combs punched her in the face.
Did he punch her with an open or closed fist?
It was a closed fist.
Mm. After Mr. Combs punched Miss Ventura in the face with a closed fist, how did she respond?
Well, she came in the bathroom crying. He walked off angry, and she came in the bathroom. And we were with her, and it was really quiet. You can see her, you could see her upset. Like she was just hurt. She was embarrassed.
Objection.
That's sustained.
Judge.
Court.
Judge.
Oh, the jury should disregard that last sentence of the witness answer.
What, if any, injuries did you observe on Miss Ventura at that time?
Her eye was swelling.
What, if anything, Did you observe Miss Ventura do to try and cover up that injury?
She started doing her makeup and tried to hide it.
Did she do anything else to cover up the injury?
She wore sunglasses that day.
Why did she wear sunglasses?
She wanted to hide the swelling.
Objection.
Sustained.
Miss Richard, did you remain with Miss Ventura after this incident?
Yes.
Why did you remain with her?
I wanted her to feel supported. She wanted to be with us. We wanted to have her back.
Miss Becker, can you please bring up for the parties, witnesses, and court what has been marked for identification as Government Exhibit 9R-101? Matter of fact, actually, can we please do 9P-102? Thank you. Miss Richard, do you recognize this image?
I do.
Generally, what does it depict?
It's us at the Central Park Festival together in New York.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of that?
Yes.
Government offers Government Exhibit 9P-102.
Any objection?
No.
9P-102 will be admitted. Government's Exhibit 9P-102 received in evidence.
Miss Richard, was this image taken later in the day following that incident?
Yes.
Can you please describe, or can you please publish that for the jury? Can you please describe who is depicted in this photograph?
On the left is Kalina Harper, and in the middle is myself, and on the right is Cassie.
And it appears in this photo that the three of you are wearing sunglasses. Why are all of you wearing sunglasses?
Objection.
I can rephrase, Your Honor.
Okay.
Miss Richard, what are you wearing in this photograph?
I'm wearing sunglasses.
And what is it that Miss Harper is wearing?
She's wearing sunglasses.
What is Miss Ventura wearing?
She's wearing sunglasses.
Are those the sunglasses you observed her put on in the bathroom?
Yes.
Why are the three of you? Why did you
Objection.
why did you decide to wear sunglasses that day?
To have solidarity, to be a friend, to be a support system for someone who needed it.
You can take this down. Miss Richard, directing your attention now to the following year in 2010. Did there come a time that you were in a restaurant in West Hollywood, California with Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura?
Yes.
What happened at that restaurant?
Mr. Combs punched Cassie in the stomach.
Can you please describe what you observed leading up to that incident?
Yes.
Ma'am, we're waiting on you.
Mimi number 8.
Mimi.
Did she drop?
Maya, you want to take over?
I
We
can't
were
miss it. You want me to?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We were having a private conversation and we were all sitting eating at the table together. When I said we, I mean some bad boys, some of the other label and even some celebrities were in the room and they were secretly arguing and he punched her in the stomach. Sean Combs punched her in the stomach.
How, if at all, did Miss Ventura respond when she was punched in the stomach?
She immediately bent over and then he told her to leave because I could see him point out and she went out and left the room.
Who, if any, of Mr. Combs' employees were present?
Harvey Pierre, Capricorn Clark, Mia, D Rock Bonds, myself, and Kalina Harper.
Miss Becker, can you please bring up for the parties in the court and the witnesses what has been marked as Government Exhibit 2A-319? Miss Richard, do you recognize this image?
I do.
What is it?
This is Harvey Pierre.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of Mr. Pierre?
Yes.
Government offers Government Exhibit 2A-319.
No objection.
All right. 2A-319 will be admitted. Government Exhibits 2A-319 received in evidence.
Miss Becker, can we please publish that for the jury? Miss Richard, generally, who was Mr. Pierre?
He was the president of Bad Boys Records.
Who, if anyone, did he report to at Bad Boy?
Objection.
Can you rephrase the question?
Of course I can. Miss Richard, you said that Mr. Pierre was the president of Bad Boy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does that mean he was your boss?
He wasn't my boss. He just was the boss of Bad Boy. My boss was Puff, Sean Combs.
Mr. Combs?
Yeah.
And did you observe Mr. Combs and Mr. Pierre while at Bad Boy together?
Yes.
Did you have an understanding of what Mr. Pierre's role was at Bad Boy?
Yes. He answered to Puff or Sean Combs.
What, if anything, did Mr. Pierre or the other employees present do to intervene at that incident?
They didn't. No one intervened. We didn't.
And when was the next time you see Miss Ventura?
We got in the car together to head back to the LA house.
Who was present in the car?
Kalina, myself, Cassie, Puff, and D-Rock.
Can you please describe where everyone was positioned in the car?
Yes, Kalina and I, it was like a sprinter. So like a BMW sprinter. So we were sitting facing them, if that makes sense. So it was Kalina and I, then Puff and Cass, and then D-Rock was in the front.
Was D-Rock driving?
He was driving, yeah.
Was anyone speaking in the car?
Cass and Puff were arguing.
And what generally were they discussing?
Cass was embarrassed, and she was telling him like he shouldn't have done that in public, and she felt embarrassed.
Objection.
Sustained.
How did Mr. Combs respond?
He grabbed her by the neck and popped her. And he slapped her in the mouth, told her.
You say that he popped her in the mouth. What do you mean by that?
Like an open-handed slap to the mouth.
How did Miss Ventura respond after she was hit in the mouth?
She looked outside the window, and everyone was quiet for the rest of the ride.
How, if at all, did D-Rock respond?
He didn't.
Miss Richard, what, if anything, would you discuss with Miss Ventura about her music career?
Cass had big dreams. She really loved
Objection.
the bassist.
It's for the effect on the listener, Your Honor, not for its truth.
All right, it's overruled.
Okay, is she coming back now? Are you in now? Okay, go ahead, JC. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm here. I don't know what page we on.
1497, line 1. Or my fact, I'll read the question again.
Maya, are you ready?
Mimi back.
No, I know, but because Mimi's getting ready to do the other part, so I'm sure. Okay, never mind.
Okay, go ahead, Tiara.
No, it's you, baby. Line 1.
She wanted to put out her album, and I told her I would write for her. She wanted to do some modeling. She wanted to do well with her career, and I myself and Kalina, we encouraged her to do that. We wanted to support her in any way that we could.
Did you observe any discussions between Miss Ventura?
Something's wrong. Mimi.
I think it's StreamYard because it's kicking me out.
Did you just? Oh, go ahead.
It's wherever you are, because it's only happening to yours.
Okay.
Did you observe any discussions between Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs about those career goals?
Go ahead, JC.
Yes,
And how, if at all, will Mr. Combs respond in those discussions?
Objection.
it's overruled.
Mr. Combs didn't like that we knew or we talked to Cassie, and oftentimes we would pay for it.
I just want to stop you for a moment. Miss Richard, can you describe what, if anything, you recall Mr. Combs saying to Miss Ventura in those discussions?
Oh, that would be um on his time, like it was coming. But when he would say it, he would come. He would also tell her like he owned her. Like this was I do this. It was very much like when I'm ready for you, you'll do it. And it was always wait, wait, wait for her. Like she had to wait her time.
Will Mr. Combs ever be upset in these discussions?
Objection.
You can rephrase.
Thank you, Your Honor. What was Mr. Combs' demeanor in these discussions?
That varied. Sometimes it was just a moment of like, wait your turn. And it was regular. And then other times it was violent, volatile, and we would have to see that.
What, if anything, will Mr. Combs say when he became violent or volatile?
It varied too. I mean, whether that was him hitting her or calling her out her name or telling her, like, it was, he owned her in that moment or her decisions. That would be what it would be.
Miss Richard, what, if anything, would you tell Miss Ventura after witnessing acts of physical abuse?
We told her she should leave.
Objection.
Grounds.
Here say we.
I think, Miss Steiner, you could probably rephrase the question to avoid the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Richard, can you please answer just li- can you please answer just limit it to you specifically?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I told her she should leave.
How will Miss Ventura react when you told her to leave?
Cass looked torn, like she would listen, but I could see the fear.
Objection.
Sustained.
If you know, Miss Richard, was Mr. Combs later made aware of these discussions?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Combs tell you after those discussions?
He didn't like it when Kalina and I would talk to Cass because she would tell him. And then she would come and we would pay for it.
And I guess
I paid for it.
specifically, what, if anything, do you recall Mr. Combs telling you?
Oh man. Stay the F out of my relationship. You bees are here to work, not to be a part of my relationship. Um, you MFers don't know real work, man.
What, if any, threats will Mr. Combs make to you?
That would be it would be or else we would pay for it. That was always y'all are going to pay for it or keep doing it. All right, that kind of thing. It was always you do this or something else bad will happen to you. It was always that, like a threat that if you didn't stay in lane, there was consequences.
What was Mr. Combs' demeanor when he made those threats?
That varied. Again, sometimes it was a stern, like moment to say it, or other times it was loud, angry, violent, and like it's mean. It was mean. It was mean.
Did anyone else speak to you specifically about your discussions with Miss Ventura?
Yes.
Who was that?
Harv. Harv Pierre.
And what, if anything, will Mr. Pierre tell you?
Harv said it would get dark and lonely. And Mr. Combs used to say this too. It gets dark and lonely if you don't listen. It was very much like y'all need to listen to him. Y'all don't want to deal with what happens if you don't. And that was stated by Harv and Mr. Combs.
What did you understand that when Mr. Pierre and Mr. Combs said it gets dark and lonely?
Objection.
It's overruled.
I seen and witnessed brutality in a way that I had to believe that if the person that was supposedly be in love with did what he did to her, what would he do to an employee? I imagined it would be worse than that.
How did you respond to these threats?
My thoughts was to be as kind as possible. Like I tried to please. I saw what if you spoke out looked like. So I would oftentimes approach Mr. Combs like with softness and like, hey, how are you? It was very much like if I do it this way, I'm I maybe will have a better chance than what the other way looked like.
Did you continue to try to intervene in Mr. Combs' relationship?
No. I made a decision that it would be best for the safety of myself to not interfere because I don't think she was ready to really do anything.
Objection.
I'm prepared to turn to a new topic, Your Honor.
I didn't even hear the objection, so must be a problem with the microphone. What was the objection?
Speculation.
That's overruled. Miss,
Court.
you proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. While you were employed by Mr. Combs, did you ever observe him using drugs?
Yes.
What kind of drugs?
Um Weed, K, C, um Molly, E,
Approximately how often did you observe him taking those drugs?
often.
Generally, where would he take these substances?
The studio or the house.
How often, if at all, did you observe him taking opiates?
Who mm, I never really saw him taking opiates.
Who, if anyone, would deliver the drugs to the studio?
There was this guy named One Stop that used to come in the studios.
Ms. Becker, can you please put up for the witnesses, the parties, and the court what has been marked as Government Exhibit 2A-507? Ms. Richard, do you recognize this image?
Yes,
What does it depict?
that's One Stop.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of one stop?
It is.
Government offers Government Exhibit 2A-507.
No objection.
2A-507 will be admitted.
Ms.
Government's,
Becker, oh, go ahead.
sorry. Government's Exhibit 2A-507 received in evidence.
Ms. Becker, can we please publish that? What type of drugs did One Stop sell?
That very too. The reason why they called him that,
Objection. Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's sustained. Hold on.
I'm sorry,
What type of drugs did you observe One Stop selling?
C, Plan B, birth control, W, E, M, like everything.
Did he deliver drugs to Mr. Combs?
He did
Where would he deliver the drugs?
in the studio.
We can take that down, Ms. Becker. Where did Mr. Combs generally store the drugs he received?
Objection.
No, you didn't say he had.
Oh, sorry. He had.
Objection.
Miss Steiner, you can rephrase.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Richard, did you observe Mr. Combs take possession of the drugs that were delivered?
Yes.
Did you observe where he stored the drugs?
Yeah. He had this Louis Vuitton pouch, travel toiletry bag that he would put the drugs in.
When, if at all, would you observe Mr. Combs traveling with that Louis Vuitton pouch?
That Louis Vuitton pouch went everywhere, from domestic to overseas.
Who would you observe carrying the Louis Vuitton pouch?
It could be his assistants or himself.
Did Mr. Combs ever offer you drugs?
Yes.
Did you take them?
I only smoke W.
Did you observe Mr. Combs offer anyone else drugs?
Yes.
Who did you observe him offer drugs to?
Kalina Harper and Cassie.
You've been testifying about observing Mr. Combs receiving drugs in the studio. Did you observe him consume those drugs in the studio?
Yes.
While he was taking drugs in the studio, was he also working?
Yes.
What type of work was he doing?
It could be anything from our album stuff to his business corporations and things he had going on.
While you were working for Mr. Combs, when, if ever, did you see him with a weapon on his person?
A few times.
What kind of weapon did you observe on his person?
It looked like a pew pew
Approximately, when did you first see Mr. Combs with the hand?
in the studio.
When you say in the studio, was that when you were working for Diddy Dirty Money?
Correct.
Where in time during your employment for Diddy Dirty Money did you first observe the hand?
In 2009, going on 2010,
Generally, where would you observe Mr. Combs carrying this hand?
in his lower waist, in the back.
You said that you observed Mr. Combs with the hand in the studio. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you observe him carrying the hand in any other locations?
If we went to the club after the studio,
Who, if anyone else, working for Mr. Combs carried weapons?
his bodyguards,
And specifically, which bodyguards?
it would be D Rock and Bonds,
And generally, where would D Rock and Bonds carry those firearms?
in the same place, the lower back.
How, if at all, did your observations of Mr. Combs and his security with firearms affect you?
Objection.
That's overruled.
I mean, fear. You have to know your environment, and it was very fearful every day to be in to understand like what that meant. I mean, it just that was the kind of environment I was in.
Miss Richard, did there come a time when you left your employment for Mr. Combs?
Yes,
Approximately when was that?
in 2011.
Generally, what did you do after leaving Bad Boy?
What do you mean?
Did you work after leaving Bad Boy?
Yeah,
Generally, what kind of work did you do?
it was the same.
Did Mr. Combs remain in contact after you left Bad Boy?
Yes.
Can you describe generally when he would be in touch?
Every time I was kind of like getting a little momentum in my career, there would be a FaceTime call. And if you didn't answer that, then someone else would call. And if you didn't answer that, someone else would call. And finally, you would get on the call and make contact. And so it would be every so often. Another time he contacted me for the possibility of using a old
I'm going to stop you right there, Miss Richard. When you said someone else would contact you when you didn't pick up immediately, who would those individuals be?
His assistant or management.
And when you had these discussions with Mr. Combs, how would you interact with him?
Again, the smartest way to talk, because it was the way I felt was the safest, was to always be pleasant, very kind, almost calling him bro all the time. Hi, bro. Very much like that.
When you initially left your employment for Mr. Combs, did you disclose the abuse that you observed?
No.
Why not?
Before I left, I told him to come in. And that day, and that was the only way I could.
I'm going to stop you right there, Miss Richard. Without getting into that conversation, can you just describe more generally why you did not disclose what you had seen or heard?
No. Oh. I was told not to.
Who told you not to?
Mr. Combs and Harv Pierre.
Did there later come a time when you decided to speak publicly about what you had witnessed?
Yes.
Approximately when was that?
2024.
What, if anything, changed your willingness to be public with what you had experienced?
I saw Cassie finally take the stand and tell the truth.
Uh,
I got
objection, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
objection. Move the strike.
The objection is sustained. The jury should disregard the witness answer. Ms. Steiner, you can ask a question phrased differently to avoid that objection.
Miss Richard, did you observe Miss Ventura file a civil lawsuit around that time?
I did.
Did you yourself file a civil lawsuit against Mr. Combs around that time?
I did.
Is that civil lawsuit that you filed primarily related to Mr. Combs' treatment of you?
Yes.
Are there claims in your civil lawsuit based on Mr. Combs' conduct towards you?
Objection, Your Honor.
That's sustained. You can rephrase the question.
You testified just now, Miss Richard, that your civil lawsuit is based on Mr. Combs' treatment of you specifically. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in your testimony here today and on Friday before the weekend, have you talked about Mr. Combs' treatment of you during your testimony, or have you focused on his treatment of others?
His treatment of others.
Can y'all hold on a second? Maya, are you ready?
Yeah. Who you
Okay,
want me to be?
go ahead. You are Dawn,
Okay,
and
go take up for Don. Okay.
yeah, you take a, cause y'all, I gotta step away for a second.
Miss Richard,
Wait a second, guys. What line are we on?
Page 1510, I believe is line 9 or 10.
Okay, I got you.
Who's Westmoreland?
It's me,
I got this
Mimi,
morning.
Mimi, Mimi.
Objection.
That's overruled.
Miss Richard, is your lawsuit against Mr. Combs still pending?
It
Maya,
is.
And are
Maya, did you get it? I'm
Uh,
sorry, y'all.
so A is me.
Yes.
Okay, it is.
and are you aware of the details of any settlement negotiations with Mr. Combs?
No, I'm not.
Are you aware of how much money, if at all, has been requested to settle the suit?
No, I'm not.
As a result of your testimony here today, Ms. Richard, Are you expecting any compensation?
I'm expecting justice.
Are you expecting any compensation, Miss Richard,
From this?
from your testimony?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination by Miss Westmoreland.
Good morning, Miss Richard. My name is Nicole Westmoreland. I represent Mr. Combs, okay?
Good morning.
I need to ask you a few questions. Now, your lawsuit that's pending right now as we speak, correct? You have a lawsuit.
Correct.
And there's a motion to dismiss pending for that lawsuit.
I'm not sure.
That's you, Tierra.
Objection.
Overruled.
You are aware that there's currently a motion to dismiss pending in your lawsuit, correct?
Not aware.
Okay. Now, before filing a lawsuit against Mr. Combs, you are aware that your attorney sent a demand letter on your behalf, correct?
I'm not aware of what my attorney sent. I'm sorry.
Without telling me any conversations between you and your lawyers, you hired civil lawyers, correct?
I have civil lawyers.
And you understand that the civil lawyers that you hired are litigating on your behalf, correct?
Can you give me, can you give that in term I can understand?
You hired lawyers to do a job on your behalf.
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Richard, you formally filed suit January 11th, 2024. Does that sound accurate?
I'm not sure. I'd have to see. I thought it was September 2024.
So you formally filed suit September 2024. Does that sound accurate?
It sounds, yeah.
Now, after filing a formal lawsuit against Mr. Combs, you had an interview with the government. Do you remember that?
What are you referring? Like just a conversation with, can you give me more? I'm sorry.
Yes. You've had the opportunity to sit down and speak with the federal prosecutors, the government, correct?
Correct.
And you sat down and you spoke with them numerous of times, correct?
Few, a few times.
You sat down with them 8 times. Does that sound right?
I don't recall the number. I'm sorry.
Would several be fair?
A few times.
Would you agree with me that over the few times that you sat down and spoke with the government, that your allegations, the ones that you have testified to today, have changed over time?
No, I think they've been at best as no. I think they've been as best as I can recall.
You think they've been consistent?
As best I can recall.
First, I want to speak to you. I want to speak with you about your testimony on Friday about the egg in the kitchen incident. Do you remember explaining a situation like that to the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
And you on Friday, you stated that Miss Ventura was in the kitchen and she was cooking eggs, right?
She was cooling eggs.
The eggs were done and she was cooling eggs, correct? And then you said Mr. Combs came downstairs. He was yelling, right?
He was.
And then he attempted to hit Miss Ventura with the frying pan with the okay. I couldn't hear you. I need you to say yes or no with the court reporter.
He
He
went to
Go ahead.
he went to swing at her. It didn't.
So he attempted to hit her in the head, and then you testify Miss Ventura dropped down into fetal position.
She covered herself. Yeah.
And that's your testimony.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time testifying on Friday and today. It's not the first time you spoke about this egg alleged incident, right?
Spoke in my civil case and right now.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
I'm not sure. Yes, I've spoken in my case and here now.
You've spoken about it in your civil case and you spoke about it here.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also spoken about it to the prosecutors, right?
We've spoken, yes.
Let's start with the civil part. You are aware that in the letters sent on your behalf to Mr. Combs that you described this egg incident. Are you aware of that?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Are you aware in the letters sent on your behalf to Mr. Combs that the egg incident that you allegedly saw that it described, are you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware.
I'd like to show it to you to see if it will refresh your memory, okay?
Okay.
Could you please pull up pre-marked defense exhibit 1500 just for the parties? Can you go to page 7, paragraph 2? Miss Richard, can you please read that to yourself? And once you're finished, please look up at me.
Okay.
Are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you aware that your allegation here was described as,
Objection.
Sustain.
did you ever make the statement that you heard a pan hit the wall? You didn't see it?
I don't recall.
Does looking at that document refresh your memory?
I don't recall that, though. Writing that.
Are you aware that that was said on your behalf?
Objection.
That's sustain.
Let's go. Oh, sorry.
Let's go back. You hired civil lawyers, correct?
Correct.
And you hired civil lawyers to enter into a litigation on your behalf, correct?
Right.
And you are aware that the civil lawyers reached out to lawyers in reference to Mr. Combs. You're aware of that, right?
I'm not aware of that. I'm sorry.
You're aware that they filed a lawsuit on your behalf.
Correct.
And you are aware that in civil proceedings, they litigate on your behalf, correct?
Can you again give it to me where I understand it? Sorry.
Sure. Your lawyers hired you hired lawyers to represent you, right?
Correct.
And you understand what a civil suit is, correct?
Correct.
That's when you're suing someone
Correct.
and you're asking for money.
Correct.
You understand that?
I'm asking for compensation for the work that I had.
Compensation, money, whatever term you like to use. That's what you were asking for, right?
Correct.
And you hired a lawyer to do that for you. That's what you did.
Correct.
And so you understand that lawyers make claims on your behalf.
Correct.
And you understand that when you hire civil lawyers, they make claims on your behalf
Correct.
to seek for your compensation.
Okay.
And are you aware that on your behalf, the incident you described was that you heard,
Objection.
That's sustain.
Miss Richard, let me ask you this. You sat down with the federal government on October 31st, 2024, didn't you?
I don't remember the date. I'm sorry.
May I show you something to help refresh your memory?
Please. Yes. Thank you.
Could you please, for the parties only, pull doc 3574.006? Sorry, my car is noisy. Do you see the highlighted date I see in the highlighted? Do you see the highlighted date?
I see the highlighted date.
You can pull that down for me now. You understand that that you went in the interview with the government, that there was someone there taking notes.
Yes.
And the government during these interviews, the government would ask you questions, right?
Correct.
You would answer them.
Yes.
Now that you had a chance to look at the document, Does that help refresh your memory that you met with the government on October 31st, 2024?
It doesn't help me because I don't know what the document like. I've never seen that document before.
Do you have any reason to disagree with me that you met with the government?
I was saying I didn't see that.
No worries, no worries. I want to get to the substance of it. When you met with the government, didn't you tell them that Mr. Combs actually hit Miss Ventura with a frying pan?
I said he attempted to hit her with a frying pan.
I didn't ask you that. Did you actually tell the government not that he attempted to hit her, that he hit her?
Yes.
You told the government that.
That he hit her, yes.
And you agree with me that there's a major difference between attempting to hit someone with a frying pan and actually hitting them. You agree with that?
Yes.
And you understand that when you are sitting down with the federal prosecutors, that it was very important for you to tell the truth.
Yes.
And you understand that it was important for you to be as accurate as possible.
To the best of my ability, yes.
And you understand testifying today that you're under oath.
Yes.
And you know that you need to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the truth.
Absolutely.
And you would agree with me that there is a difference between hitting someone with a frying pan and throwing a frying pan, correct?
Correct.
But you gave two different stories, didn't you?
I did the best that I could to recall.
How about you gave another interview? Would you have reason to disagree with me that your next interview was on March 18th, 2025?
I wouldn't disagree with you. That sounds right.
And in that video interview, isn't it true that you told the federal prosecutors that Mr. Combs actually threw eggs at Miss Ventura?
No, I don't recall that.
You don't recall that? And that after throwing the eggs at Miss Ventura, that he actually set the pan back down? Do you remember saying that?
I don't recall that.
Let me show you something to help refresh your memory. Okay?
Thank you.
Can you please publish only for the parties 3574.007? Can you please go up to page 4? First open bullet point. Can you highlight that section right there? Thank you very much. Please read that to yourself and then look up at me when you're done. Are you done?
I am.
Does it refresh your memory that you actually told the prosecutors that Mr. Combs didn't hit her with the frying pan at all?
I don't recall saying that. I'm sorry.
And isn't it true that you told the prosecutors now, with reading that he actually threw eggs at her?
I don't recall saying it.
You don't recall saying that?
Uh-uh.
And we discussed that when you had these interviews, that there was a note taker, right?
Yes,
You agree that throwing eggs and then setting the pan down is different than hitting someone with the pan, right?
I do.
And you agree that hitting someone with a pan is very different than attempting to hit someone with a pan, right?
Correct.
And you agree that hearing a pan thrown against the wall is different than all three of the other ways, right?
Correct.
Miss Richard, let me just ask you, would you agree with me that it's been hard for you to keep your story the same in reference to this egg incident?
Objection.
It's overruled.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
You would agree that you told multiple different stories, though.
No, I would agree that I told it to the best of my recollection, and it was close as I could give it.
To the best of your recollection. You have about four different recollections on what may have happened that day.
No, I don't.
Let's talk about the day after.
Okay.
Now, you testified on Friday and furthered that testimony today. And you explained to us that Mr. Combs called you to the studio the next day, right?
He did.
And that you went to the studio, Mr. Combs locked the door and he told you this was a love and passion thing, right?
Correct.
And then he told you you better not say anything. And excuse me, he told you, Miss Harper, right? He told you and Miss Harper, right? Miss Harper was there.
Yes.
And he told both of you, you better not say anything because where I'm from, people go missing.
Correct.
And that's what you told the ladies and gentlemen of the court. That's what you said.
Correct.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Now, testifying Friday and today, that's not the first time that you have had the opportunity to explain that alleged incident, right?
Correct.
Because you sat down with the prosecution on numerous occasions, correct?
Correct.
And you remember them asking you about this?
Correct.
On October 31st, 2024, we're going back to what we don't argue. We're going back to what you don't argue with me is the first interview, okay?
Okay.
Objection.
It's overruled.
Now, isn't it true that at the interview, during the interview, you explained to the prosecutors that Mr. Combs told you that this was nothing but love and argument, right? No one was hurt.
Correct.
And you did not tell the prosecutors that Mr. Combs told you where I'm from, people go missing.
Can I see what you're saying? Because
Absolutely.
thank you.
Page 6, first paragraph. Can you highlight the first paragraph, please? Please read to yourself and then look up at me when you're done. That whole line, please. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're done? Does that refresh your memory that you
Mm.
did that you did not tell the federal prosecutors that Mr. Combs told you people go missing?
I always state what I've stated. So if not, it's not my recollection. That wasn't stated, but that's what happened.
So you agree with that if you stated that. The prosecutors didn't write that down.
Objection.
No.
That's sustained.
You didn't see it there.
Objection.
That's sustained.
Let's go to your interview on March 18th, 2025.
Oh,
That's your next interview,
okay.
okay?
Okay.
And isn't it true in that interview you stated Mr. Combs said this was a love thing. No one was hurt, right? And then you and that you did not say anything about Mr. Combs told you. People go missing.
Is there? What was the question?
You didn't tell prosecutors on March 18th, 2025. Isn't that true?
No, that's not true. I don't recall not saying that.
I'm going to show you a document to refresh your memory.
Thank you.
Can you please pull 3574.007? This is just for the parties. Page 5, second bullet point. You done?
I'm done.
Isn't it true, Miss Richards, that you told the prosecutors that you were in the studio?
Objection.
Miss Miss Westmoreland, can you start again and maybe rephrase the question?
Sure, no worries. Thank you. I asked you one question. You didn't tell the prosecutors on March 18th, 2025, your second interview, that Mr. Combs told you people go missing.
I tell my story as I remember it.
So on that day, you didn't remember that Mr. Combs told you that people go missing? A comment that you said meant that you could die?
Objection.
That's overruled.
I spoke as best as I can remember it. It was a long time ago. I'm doing my best to understand these questions as best I can.
Let me ask you this. When you were in that room with the federal prosecutors, Mr. Cohn was not there, right?
No.
And none of his lawyers were there.
No.
And you felt safe in the room with the federal prosecutors.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know it was important to tell the truth.
Yes.
You know it was important to try to be accurate.
Yes.
The prosecutors was asking you questions.
Yes.
You were answering them.
Yes, ma'am.
You spoke about this particular incident in detail, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, they asked you questions and you answered them.
To the best of my ability.
Right. And you would agree that you alleging Mr. Combs threatened you was something that you would want to tell the United States federal government, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And although that's what you're saying here in trial, you would agree with me that even in your second interview, you didn't mention that.
Objection.
It's overruled.
Could you please answer the question?
What was the question?
You would agree with me. You didn't mention that.
I mentioned it. Whether or not I don't know what the notes were to. Wait. I mentioned it. Whether or not I don't know what the notes were taken. I don't know. I can't know what the notes are going to be taken. Sorry.
You did another interview on April 17th, 2025.
Okay.
Do you have a reason to disagree with me with that date?
No.
During that interview, you and the United States government, you guys spoke about this incident that you're alleging. You spoke about it again. Okay? Do you agree with that?
I would have to see the document.
No worries.
Thank you.
Page 2, first paragraph. Please look up at me when you're done.
I'm done.
You would agree with me that you discussed this alleged incident with the prosecutors on April 17th, 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
We're on our third interview.
Uh huh.
Mr. Combs wasn't there.
No, he was not.
I wasn't there.
No.
None of his lawyers were there.
No, ma'am.
You felt safe in this interview.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't tell the federal government that Mr. Combs told you people go missing.
I told him exactly what my recollection of that event was.
So your recollection that day was that Mr. Combs didn't threaten you by telling you that people go missing.
He threatened me and said people go missing.
I understand that's what you're testifying here. I'm asking you, you didn't tell the government that on April 17th, 2025, your third interview, correct?
I'm telling you, I told them what I remembered.
So you just didn't remember that threat?
Objection.
Is it fair?
No, I remember everything I'm telling you now.
Miss Richard, you don't have a reason to disagree with me that you met the government on October 31st, 2024. We talked about that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You met the government on March 18th, 2025. No disagreement there.
No, ma'am.
You met with the government on April 8th, 2025. No disagreement there.
Yes, ma'am.
You met with the government on April 17th, 2025. No disagreement there.
No, ma'am.
You met with the government on April 9th, 2025. No disagreement there.
No disagreement there.
You met with the government on 5/10/2025. No disagreement there.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Richard, isn't it true that the first time that you mentioned and alleged that Mr. Combs told you people go missing was a week ago on May 10th, 2025?
No, ma'am.
Would you like me to show you the rest of your interviews to refresh your recollection?
I know what I said, ma'am.
Now, you said that when Mr. Combs told you people go missing, you took that to be a death threat.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're telling us, right?
Yes, ma'am.
A death threat that you didn't recall on 7 different occasions.
Objection.
That's sustained.
Let's move on. Miss Richard, you testified to some other incidents that you alleged witnessed, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you told us about a restaurant, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs were arguing and that he hit her.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell me who all was at that restaurant.
Harv, Pierre, Capricorn Clark, Mia, and myself. Kalina, our bodyguards, which was Bonds and D Rock and Cassie.
Now, you've spoken about the incident before, right?
I have.
And you remember being asked who all was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall alleging several celebrities was
Yeah,
actually there? So when the government asked you who all was there, I asked you who all was there right now. You didn't mention any of the celebrities, right?
right.
Please recall those celebrities now.
Usher was there. Jimmy Levine was there. Neo came through. There was a few others too. I don't recall those people, but those are the ones I remember talking to.
Those are the ones you remember talking to. Any reason why you left those individuals out when I asked you the question?
I just, I thought you were recalling what I mentioned here. Ask me to give you the names of the people I mentioned here.
Any reason why you left those individuals out when the government asked you the questions?
Objection.
It's overruled.
She just asked me who was there.
And if those individuals were there, why didn't you say their name?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You told us about an incident in a car leaving the festival. Do you remember that?
Yeah, wait, not, no, not in a car leaving the festival. No,
Today is not your first day discussing these other alleged situations that you saw, right?
correct,
Spoke about that too with the prosecutors, correct?
correct.
Was there a time that you stated that you saw Mr. Combs pull Miss Ventura out of the car, drag her in the grass, and everybody saw it?
I never stated that.
You never stated that?
Uh-uh.
I'm going to show you something to help you refresh your memory, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can you pull 3574.002? Actually, won't you take that down for a second? I want to pull something else first. Can you pull 3574.016? Can you go to the next page? Go to page 1, first paragraph. Yes, first bullet point right there. Thank you very much. Can you please read that to yourself and then look up at me when you're done?
Uh-huh.
During that interview, you remember having an interview with the government, right?
Yes.
In May,
Yes.
just a week or two ago. And the government asked you about an allegation that was made on your behalf in your civil complaint, right?
Yes.
And the government asked you about an allegation made on your behalf that Mr. Combs dragged Miss Ventura out of the car onto the grass in front of everyone, correct?
Correct.
Because that was in your complaint, right?
That was a misquote from a lawyer in my complaint.
And so you explained to the government that didn't happen.
Correct.
Now you told us about an incident that you allege occurred at a festival, right?
Correct.
And you agree with me that at the festival, Miss Harper was there, right?
Correct.
Isn't it true that at that festival you were being filmed? You were being filmed. You, Miss Ventura, and Miss Harper were being filmed the whole time.
Correct.
And so there's video. to your knowledge of this whole vent, right?
Yes.
You have you have the video,
No.
but you're aware that there is a video.
Yes.
Are you aware of whether that video has been turned over to the prosecution office?
No.
Objection.
It's overruled.
I couldn't hear you. Yes or no?
No.
Because you're aware that there was a video and you made an allegation that Mr. Combs punched Miss Ventura, right?
Yes. In the bathroom.
So that was surely beyond the video, right?
No.
Well, camera crew was filming,
Okay.
and you're aware there's a video.
Okay.
And if something like that, what you described occurred, you're not following me.
No, because we were filmed in the bathroom.
Right. You had to go you had to go out of the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
So at some point you had to go out of the bathroom. You spent all day at this festival, right?
Correct.
With a camera crew filming all day.
Correct.
Now, for these alleged times that you said you saw different situations, you agree with me that you were never with Mr. Combs alone, right? There was someone else with you.
What do you mean by just the incidents I've named? Yes.
Let's just stick to those. The incident that you named, there was someone always with you.
Yes. You forgot to say right. That's what I was waiting for.
You provided those individuals' names to the prosecution.
Yes.
And we can both agree that during all of these allegations of what you said that you saw happen with Cassie, that Miss Harper, that she was with you, right?
Yes.
You was with she was with you at the festival.
Yes.
You told the ladies and gentlemen of this jury she was with you in the car.
Yes.
She was with you at the restaurant.
Yes.
Miss Richard, let's talk about the weapons. You testified about weapons, right?
Yes.
Now, would you agree with me that Mr. Combs was a celebrity, right?
Yes.
And during the whole time that you had the opportunity to be around Mr. Combs and Bad Boys, he was a celebrity, right?
Yes.
And you once yourself had fame, right?
Yes.
And you will agree with me that it's common for celebrities to have bodyguards.
Yes.
And you will also agree with me that part of the reason for celebrities to have bodyguards is to help protect them from danger.
Yes.
Now, you testified that you saw Mr. Combs with a weapon.
Yes.
And I don't want to misquote you. You said a few times.
Yes.
You were around for Mr. Combs from 2024 to 2011. Pretty close proximity, you would say?
Yes.
So, over several years, you saw a weapon a few times.
Yes.
You told us once, studio, that's what you said?
The studio and sometimes the club.
Can you give us a little bit of detail first? You saw a gun. Tell us, mm, tell us when, where, tell us about it.
Studio, New York, Daddy's house.
Second time,
Studio, New York, Daddy's house.
third time.
In his house, New York.
Did you give those details to the government?
No.
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 8 interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And during these interviews, the prosecutors asked you questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you answered them,
Mm-hmm.
and you spoke about the weapons.
Yes.
This question answer session,
Yes.
and out of 8 interviews, you didn't tell prosecution, hey, I saw a weapon. It was at the studio at Diddy's house, at Daddy's house. You didn't tell them that.
I answered what was asked of me.
They didn't ask you any detail?
That wasn't asked at the time.
Well, when you say at the time, I'm talking about 8 times.
It wasn't asked. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you for that. Let me ask a few questions.
Okay.
You never saw Mr. Combs pull a weapon out, like wave it around, right?
No,
You never saw Mr. Combs like pull a weapon out and like cock it back or anything.
no,
And you never saw Mr. Combs like load bees in the weapon or anything like that.
no.
Matter of fact, you've never seen Mr. Combs pull a weapon out, period.
Just had it on him.
Just had it on him
Mm-hmm.
in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you about your testimony regarding the rugs, okay?
Okay.
You saw Mr. Combs do rugs.
Yes.
You did rugs too, right?
Weed, yes.
You ever pretend to do some other rugs,
Yes.
but you didn't actually do them?
No.
You were putting on a fade, a facade, sorry.
Yes.
Now, I want to make sure that this is your testimony. You started today that you've never seen Mr. Combs do C, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Misstates the testimony.
You never saw Mr. Combs do C, right?
Amen.
That's sustained.
I'm asking, have you ever seen Mr. Combs do C?
I lost my spot, guys.
11, line 11,
And is it 1595?
1540.
1540.
Okay. Let's see.
Yes.
You have? Okay. Was there a time that you told the government in interviews that you've never seen Mr. Combs do C?
I don't recall that.
Let me help you refresh your memory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you please pull doc 3574.006, please? Can you take us to page 7? This is just for the parties. First bullet point, can you highlight that? Okay, Ms. Richards, can you please read that to yourself? And when you're finished, please look up at me. You done?
Mm-hmm.
Did that refresh your memory?
It did.
So I ask you again, isn't it true that you told the government that you never seen Mr. Combs do C?
At the time, I hadn't recalled that. No.
I'm sorry. At the time that you did the interviews on October 31st, you hadn't recalled that.
No,
No.
I hadn't.
But the government asked you about Mr. Combs' rugs usage, right?
They did.
And you didn't say to this government, hey, I don't know.
Mimi, you can say the word.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't.
You actually said Mr. Combs did not do.
Objection.
I think there was a witness. There was a withdrawn objection. Can you re-ask the question?
You didn't say, I don't know if Mr. Combs does cocaine, right?
I didn't say.
You told the government, Mr. Combs, I've never seen him do cocaine. That's what you said.
Yes,
And you will agree with me that your testimony has changed on that.
it has.
I mean, you will agree with me at this point that your testimonies changed on quite a few things.
I think I'm As time progresses, I get better with knowing I get better with knowing it because it was so long ago.
Would you agree with me that as time progresses, your story changes?
Yes.
Now, you testified to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that you would see an individual by the name of One Stop
Yes.
and that you would come to the studio
Yes.
and that you witnessed him sell drugs.
Yes.
That's what you said.
Yes.
This is not the first time you had an opportunity to discuss this subject, right?
Mhm.
And isn't it true that you've never seen One Stop actually sell drugs?
No, I've seen One Stop sell drugs.
Who did you see give One Stop money?
That varied. It could be an assistant or it would be Puff giving the assistant money to pay for it.
You said could be. I'm not asking you to speculate. That's not allowed here. I'm asking you to answer the question if you know.
Yeah, I've seen him give money. An assistant gives money One Stop and he would give drugs.
Can you please pull Doc 3574.015, page 2? This is just for the parties. Take us down to the third bullet point and please highlight the last open bullet point. Just the last open bullet point, please. Thank you. Miss Richard, please read that to yourself and look up at me when you're done. Isn't it true that you had an interview with the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you discussed One Stop.
Mm-hmm.
They asked you questions. They, meaning the government,
Yes.
you answered the questions.
Yes.
You knew to tell the truth
Yes.
and whether you had witnessed One Stop selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That subject was discussed.
It was.
And isn't it true that you told the government you never saw here?
Objection.
Overruled.
Isn't it true that you told the government that you never saw anyone give payment to One Stop?
Yes.
You didn't know who paid for the drugs.
Correct.
Right. So when you testified today in front of the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that you saw One Stop sell drugs, that you saw Mr. Combs pay him for drugs, that was a lie.
No.
So you will agree with me that what you're testifying today is different than what you told the government in that interview.
Correct.
Another story change?
Not a story change, but yes, different.
Miss Richard, I don't know the exact count, but at this point, you would agree with me. We have several story changes.
Objection.
That's sustained.
Let's talk about your testimony in reference to how threatened you felt by Mr. Combs. You were scared,
Yes.
very.
Yes.
So, Miss Richard, you testified that you felt threatened by Mr. Combs, right?
Mimi, you broke up.
Did she go
Yes,
out?
go ahead, take it from
can you hear me? I had a
me.
phone call. Where we at?
So,
Line
Miss
Yes.
four.
Line 4.
Okay. So, Miss Richard, you separated in 2011, meaning you went on a solo artist, right?
Correct.
And so you were no longer with or around Mr. Combs like that, right?
Correct.
And I mean you being pretty scared and so fearful, in fear of your life after 2011, you were away from him, right?
Correct.
And I'm sure you're being pretty fearful and scared of him that once you were able to get away from him, you definitely wouldn't want to come back, right?
Correct.
But would you agree with me that you actually asked Mr. Combs to come back, didn't you?
Not to come back. No.
Can you please pull up for the party's defense exhibit 1501? Miss Richard, I'm going to ask you to look at the top of this document. Do you know what this is?
Yes, I do.
Looks familiar to you?
Yes.
And you will agree You would agree that this is a text message exchange.
Yes, it is.
Accurate?
Yes.
At this time, I move to admit Defense Exhibit 1501.
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, this was ruled on.
Well, there was an issue that was ruled on, but let's have a very brief sidebar. The issue that was previously raised had to go to the 803.3 issue on the state of the state. However, the way you present this is in an impeaching document. So that's separate. And I
Okay, JC, you have a problem with your mic. It's going in and out.
you can't can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, but it's like you moving something.
I didn't can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, the issue that was previously raised had to go to the 803.3 issue of that state of mind. However, the way you presented this is as an impeaching document. So that's a separate issue. And I don't believe that the prerequisites have been satisfied yet that will permit you to put that in the statement on those grounds.
Okay.
Ms. Steiner, do you have anything further?
No.
I understand that there was a different issue that was presented with this document, and that's why I called the sidebar. So you can lay that for the foundation, go through the steps, and try to introduce it as a prior inconsistent statement. But you have to ask the questions first.
Miss Richards, now, you gave testimony that after you left and you were separate from Mr. Combs, that he would reach out to you at certain moments, is what you described. You testified that you would respond kindly, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that you will only respond kindly because you figured out that that was the best way to do so, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you also testified that because you were in fear, right? I asked you about your fear.
Mm-hmm.
And because you were finally able to, or you were gone from Mr. Combs, that being in fear, that you would want to, or you wouldn't want to come back and work with him or be around him, right?
Correct.
That's what you said, right?
Correct.
Isn't it true that Mr. Combs didn't reach out to you? You reached out to him.
Correct.
So you weren't just responding in kind, you were initiating a conversation.
Once before, yeah.
Once.
When I said once before, I mean there was a time when I was asked by someone
I'm going to stop you right there.
to contact Puffy.
I'm going to stop you right there. The government would get up and ask you questions, and I'm asking you this question.
Yes, ma'am.
The question I'm asking you is, isn't it true that you initiated contact with Mr. Combs?
Correct.
And I just want to make sure we are clear because you said something about one time a second ago. So I want to make sure we're clear. You reached out to Mr. Combs on several different occasions, correct?
Yes.
Mm. And so you will agree with me that there is a difference between Mr. Combs reaching out to you and you responding to him as opposed to you reaching out to him.
Correct.
And you were so scared of him, right?
Yes.
So you will agree with me that you reached out to Mr. Combs, and one of the reasons that you reached out to Mr. Combs was to work with him again.
Yes.
Miss Richard, I want you to help us understand. Mr. Combs has threatened you.
Mm-hmm.
You perceive the threats as death threats,
Yes.
feared for your life, scared.
Yes, ma'am.
You are away from him 2011, but then you ask him to come to work with him again.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Richard, I'm sorry. Now, Miss Richards, you explained to us that your relationship with Mr. Combs started about 2024, right? And you testified Friday that you were in a group, Danity Kane, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you will agree with me that when you were a member of Danity Kane, that you experienced fame by by way of that, right?
Yes.
I mean, you would describe it as you couldn't walk the streets, like a regular person.
I wouldn't describe it as that. I mean, we were young, so it was younger kids.
You had this conversation with the government about Danity Kane, right?
Yep.
And in fame, you don't remember.
And fame, meaning like just us being famous.
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, we were big.
you were big,
Yeah.
right? And Danity Kane was dismantled in 2008, 2009.
Yeah. In 2009. Mm-hmm.
And then after Danity Kane was like a five-member group.
Yes.
And you named Danity Kane, right?
Yes.
And then Danity Kane was dismantled. And then you were a member of a group called Dirty Money, right?
Correct.
When you were a member of the group Dirty Money, that was you, Mr. Combs, and Miss Harper.
Yeah.
So now Mr. Combs is actually a member in that group you're in, right?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that Dirty Money did pretty good in the industry, right?
They did okay. Yeah.
I mean, you will agree that Danity Kane and Dirty Money both went platinum.
Yeah, they went.
In case the ladies and gentlemen of the jury explain platinum.
We sell a lot of records.
I mean, you would agree with me that Danity Kane sold 100,000 records in one day,
Yes.
60,000 in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Did pretty good.
Did pretty well.
Now, you testified Danity Kane stopped in 2009, Dirty Money stopped in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the end of the music with Mr. Combs, correct?
Correct.
And then I think the prosecutors asked you about what you had been doing since, right?
Correct.
And you've released over 100 songs.
Correct.
And would you agree with me that the songs that you've released hadn't reached the levels of success as Dirty Money and Danity Kane? To me, no offense, but you agree with that, right?
Correct.
And you agree with me that you actually asked Mr. Combs to sign you as a solo artist
Before I left.
before you left, right? About 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and he told you no.
Yeah.
And you agree with me that you've reached out to Mr. Combs after you were gone and asked him to come back and do work with him, right?
Correct.
I mean, as recently as years 2020, 2011, right?
To work together as Dirty Money.
Just work together, period.
Yeah. Yes.
You have?
Yes.
And the endeavors that you were trying to do with Mr. Combs were more recently. Those didn't work out. You didn't end up working with him, right? So you will agree with me that you felt like Mr. Combs had no legitimate reason to dismantle the previous groups that you were in. You will agree with that, right?
Correct.
And you will agree with me. I mean, you've given plenty of interviews in reference to your feelings on Dirty Money and Danity Kane being dismantled, right?
Correct.
So you felt Mr. Combs had no legitimate reason to do that.
Correct.
And you would agree with me or admit that you were angry about it,
Saddened by it.
saddened by it, because you will agree that you felt like Mr. Combs ruined your career not once, but twice.
Yes.
And then Mr. Combs had the audacity to sign you as a solo artist. You felt like that.
Yeah. I didn't care about that.
You didn't care.
Yeah. Whether he signed me.
Music is your dreams.
Yes.
And you've been trying to succeed at it for a long time
I did succeed at it.
in the past.
Now.
Miss Richard, November 2023, you saw Miss Ventura had filed a suit against Mr. Combs.
Correct.
You read her complaint.
Correct.
And shortly after Miss Ventura filed her suit, you filed a suit yourself, right?
Correct.
And it is your want to get a lot of money from Mr. Combs, correct?
No.
So you're not filing a lawsuit to get money.
I'm filing a lawsuit to get compensated for the work that I put forth.
And you would agree with me that your definition of compensation is money.
Yes, correct.
I have no further questions.
Your Honor, may we please have a sidebar?
You may.
Your Honor, the government believes that Miss Westmoreland, through her repeated line of questioning regarding Ms. Richards' employment, why she was dissatisfied, why she left, has opened the door in several respects to testimony that we did not elicit about forced labor, specifically asking her why things didn't work out, why she was dissatisfied, that she had no reason to leave, that she not once but twice had asked the defendant to return to working for him. Miss Richard, if asked, would testify that the defendant had on numerous occasions overworked her, underpaid her, groped her, had not permitted her to take any respite leading to her hospitalization, and that he would make continuous threats if she failed to perform, work the hours that he required. All of that is going to be omitted from what's proven to the jury currently and leave the jury with the false impression that Ms. Richards simply was asking the defendant about work or was dissatisfied with work without giving the appropriate context.
Your Honor, not true. First, just want to make sure that we had a discussion yesterday about what I would go into.
Just to clarify, we never discussed this issue.
Can I finish real quick?
Mm.
That's number one. Number two is the government asked Miss Richards Friday, you started your career in 2024. It ended in 2011. It was with Mr. Combs. She introduced Danity Kane. She introduced Dirty Money. If I could go one by one, if I could see your pad, or if you want to say it again.
You can look at the notes.
Just ask you. Just ask you a basic question. My understanding, and I'll go back and look at the transcript, is that on direct examination, the witness indicated that after her employment had ended, she just responded to Mr. Combs' outreach in a way that would keep her safe. And to undermine that, you asked questions concerning Miss Richards' career to show that she was still interested in talking to Mr. Combs because of gripes about her career, essentially. So, this issue of undermining the witness' credibility given what had been elicited on direct, that's what I understand it to be. But Miss Steiner, I think you're suggesting that it was broader than that. That there were questions that went to the reasons why Mr. Richard left Bad Boy Records in the first place.
Correct.
I don't remember that, but
No, I did not ask that. And I did respond to that. I said that he closed the group down. I didn't say why did he you leave, Miss Richard, or you're unhappy, or
I think you said it was dismantled.
the group was dismantled. I didn't say why did she leave. I said Mr. Combs dismantled the group. I didn't say why did you leave the group. She didn't leave the group anyway. The group was dismantled.
Miss Steiner,
A couple of points, Your Honor. Sorry to interrupt. With respect to dismantling of the group, again, I do think that does speak to the circumstances surrounding it. Ms. Richard would testify that it was dismantled on live TV after she had received a series of threats by the defendant, that she had sustained these very difficult work conditions. Ms. Westmoreland, through her line of questioning, also attempted to paint a picture that Miss Richard made more money, had greater success in Danity Kane and Dirty Money than she's ever had since. And that called into question what her experience actually was in those groups, which was not as has been elicited that she made a ton of money. In fact, Ms. Richard would testify that she was underpaid at times not paid, is actually the subject matter of her current suit.
I think there's a narrower issue here. I don't think Miss Westmoreland has opened up the door at all. The forced labor allegations, however, there was an attack on her credibility. Fair?
Fair.
As Miss Steiner, on redirect, you can rehabilitate the witness in any way that you believe is appropriate, given that Miss Westmoreland asked about that. I take it, Miss Westmoreland, you are anticipating and happy to have Miss Steiner do that?
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's a real issue here because to the extent that Miss Westmoreland, for instance, suggested reasons why Miss Richard did certain things after she left Bad Boy Records that were related to her efforts to try to get money from Mr. Combs, and your response is actually there are legitimate reasons why we're acted the way she did. That's fair game, correct?
I agree.
I want to make. Oh, that's you, Mimi.
No, Miss Call me you.
Ain't you
Yeah, that's the
ain't
prosecutor.
that's a process. Oh, I want to make sure the record is clear about what's allowed here. I want to make sure we're following your honor's order and responding appropriately. So it would be about the fact that she felt she was underpaid, did not receive fair compensation to respond to that line of cross, but not the allegations of being overworked, not the allegations of being hospitalized.
I don't believe, maybe I need to understand what's going on. So I don't believe there was any questioning on cross examination concerning what happened to the employment to the witness. I don't remember that.
I didn't.
That's what's missing. I think there was questioning about what happened after the employment ended and communications to suggest that essentially the witness had come up with these things after the lawsuit was filed and after she proceeded to get money. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes.
I thought there was questioning about how many songs they put out, how many records they sold, how they went platinum with Dandy Kane and Dirty Money, and the implications she made money from that and being successful like that. The redirect would be, well, how much were you paid for that?
I don't think that was in bounds.
That's what I wanted to check.
Thank you for asking that. I do think if you want to rehabilitate the witness by saying, why did you file your lawsuit? What was what was involved in the lawsuit to allow that it was not an effort simply to just get money from Mr. Combs is the wake of Miss Ventura's lawsuit, but that she believed that these things happened, or it was something, or is there something in this communications you could say that, well, the reason why she was having these communications was X or Y reasons. I think that's within bounds, correct, Miss Westmoreland?
If she's asked why did you file a lawsuit, she will say, because I was underpaid, because he didn't pay me for the work I did, and because he worked me to the bone to the point I was hospitalized.
I think the defense opened the door to that by asking about the lawsuit, but keep questioning brief to respond to what was a brief questioning and cross-examination.
Understood. Thank you, Your Honor.
Redirect examination by Ms. Steiner.
Good morning again, Miss Richard.
Good
Good morning.
morning. Oh,
You were asked a series of questions on cross examination about your employment for Mr. Combs. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And specifically, you were asked about your employment when you were working as a member of Dandy Kane, which is a woman's group. Is that correct?
correct,
And of Diddy Dirty Money. Is that right?
correct,
And you were also asked questions about your civil lawsuit. Do you recall that?
correct.
Can you explain why you filed your civil lawsuit?
I felt I was on, I was in an environment that wasn't conducive for an employee, and I am for my time and experience working with Sean Combs. That's what I was suing for.
When you say not conducive for an employee, can you describe what you mean by that?
No sleep, days.
Mimi.
Objection.
That's sustained.
What, if anything, related to your financial compensation was addressed in your civil lawsuit?
I don't recall. I don't. I don't
Did your
know.
civil law did your civil lawsuit discuss how much you were paid for those jobs?
No,
You were asked in cross-examination a series of questions about what you had told the government in various meetings. Do you recall that?
I do.
And what you had included in your complaint and demand letters related to your case. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you also were asked questions about how your memory of those events have in certain ways changed. Do you remember that?
Yes.
When did the events that you have testified about here today occur?
Between 2004 and 2011.
And when did you first meet with the government?
Late 2024, early 2025.
So over a decade later. Is that right?
Correct.
And during the course of that decade, had you thought a lot about your employment?
I try not to
Why did you try not to think about it?
because it was a hard time. It was a bad time for me in a bad environment for me.
And so you filed a lawsuit in 2024. Is that right? And you started meeting with the government around then, too. Is that right?
Correct.
Can you describe the process for the jury of trying to recall these events that you've tried to forget for so long?
They don't all come back immediately. I have to go back to memories that I don't want to. And it takes time to remember things that have happened during the time that you try to forget.
When you're referring to memories that you didn't want to come back to, what types of memories are those?
Work until you're sick.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
Granted, the jury should disregard the witness' last answer.
And Miss Richard, without speaking about your personal condition, what, if any, memories had you been trying to suppress?
The environment was volatile and it was very hard to work in. And so I tried to erase those things from my mind.
And over time, has your memory become clearer?
Every day it gets easier to remember certain things. I try my best to do it to the best of my ability
And how is that?
by speaking with you guys, speaking with others about the incidents, trying to remember and piece those things together as best and accurate as I can.
You were asked a series of questions on cross examination about notes that the government had taken during meetings with you and your attorney. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you review those notes for accuracy?
No, I did not.
Do you know if, in fact, they were accurate?
No, I don't.
Had you ever seen those notes prior to being shown them by the defense counsel today?
Did not.
And similarly, you were shown a letter written by your attorney on cross examination. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Had you ever seen that letter before today?
I had not.
Have you ever reviewed it for accuracy?
No.
So again, you were asked on cross-examination a series of questions about your memory, and you testified that as a part of this process of recalling, your memory has a certain issues changed over time. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you met with the government on several occasions. Is that right?
I'd say a few, but yeah.
A few?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I want to be accurate. In every meeting with the government, did you inform the government that Mr. Combs hit Miss Ventura?
Correct.
And in every meeting with the government, did you inform the government that Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura?
Objection.
Sustained. You can rephrase the question.
On every meeting with the government, did you inform the government that Mr. Combs had been violent with Miss Ventura?
Objection.
Sustained. The question needs to be rephrased.
In every meeting with the government, did you discuss physical encounters?
Objection.
What's the grounds for the objection?
Leading.
Yeah, that's sustained.
In every meeting with the government, did you describe the encounters that you had observed between Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs?
Objection.
That's overruled.
Yes.
With respect to those interactions, what did you observe?
That Cassie was attacked and beaten.
In every meeting with the government, did you tell the government that Mr. Combs had been either been yelling at Miss Ventura, degrading Miss Ventura, or hitting or kicking Miss Ventura?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
In all of your meetings with the government, Miss Richard, did you discuss that Mr. Combs had threatened you
Yes.
and that he told you to keep quiet?
Yes.
And when would he tell you to do that?
Anytime I spoke up or anytime I would talk to Cassie about her journey or we did something we weren't supposed to do.
And I want to talk to you about a specific incident that you were asked about with respect to the frying pan in 2009. Do you recall being asked about that on cross examination?
Yes.
And that incident took place in 2009. So approximately how long ago was that?
I'm not good at math. I'm sorry. A long time.
In the course of speaking with the government, is it fair to say that you have been thinking a lot about that incident?
Yes.
Sitting here today, do you have any doubt in your mind that Mr. Combs attempted to strike Miss Ventura?
I have no doubt that
And,
he did.
and do you have any doubt at all that Miss Ventura, when he did that, dropped to the ground and formed the fetal position?
Correct.
Do you have any doubt?
No, I don't have any doubt.
And do you have any doubt that he then dragged Miss Ventura up the stairs by her hair?
Yes.
Do you have any doubt?
No doubt.
And do you have any doubt that once upstairs you heard the breaking of glass as though it was being thrown?
No doubt.
And do you have any doubt that the following day Mr. Combs brought you in and threatened you to keep quiet?
No doubt.
You were asked a couple of questions on cross examination about the incident that had occurred at the restaurant in West Hollywood, California. Do you remember that?
I do.
During that incident, what occurred?
Cassie was punched in the stomach
By whom?
by Sean Combs.
And when she was punched with full force or less than full force?
He punched her. I wasn't hard. He punched her hard.
And when he punched her hard, you had been asked by me on direct examination which of his employees was present. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did I ask you whether anyone aside from his employees was present?
No, you did not.
And were there, in fact, other individuals aside from his employees present?
Yes,
And why didn't you raise them on direct examination?
because you didn't ask.
Were you trying to hide the fact?
No,
You were also asked about an incident in one point, which you had at one point stated that Miss Ventura had been pulled out of a vehicle by Mr. Combs and dragged into the grass. Do you recall that?
I do.
And you testified that you believe that was an error that had been made by your attorneys. Is that right?
Correct.
Do you ever recall an incident of violence that you have been referring to?
Yes.
Can you please describe for the jury what occurred during that incident of violence?
Cassie was grabbed, the neck and head slammed against the window
And by whom?
by Sean Combs,
When you said the window, which,
the glass in the car.
and where were you relative to Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs when Mr. Combs slammed Miss Ventura's head into the window?
Sitting right there in front of them.
You were asked a few questions on cross examination by Miss Westmoreland about instances where you had initiated contact with Mr. Combs since leaving Diddy Dirty Money. Do you recall that?
I do.
And you were specifically asked about an instance where you have reached out to Mr. Combs about making demand. Is that correct? And I believe Miss Westmoreland interrupted you at that point. Can you please explain to the jury why you reached out to Mr. Combs at that time?
Lorianne Gibson was a part of the judges for making the band, and I had not had contact with her, and I really wanted a relationship with her. She was the first person to help me be a part of the band. She had talked to me and said,
Objection.
Can
That's
you
sustained.
can you explain, without specifying what Miss Lorianne said to you, why you reached out and at whose direction you reached out to Mr. Combs?
I was told to contact,
Objection.
I contacted Puff to be part of making a band to develop a relationship with Lorianne again. And it was a way to do it without Mr. Sean Combs being a part of it. He was not a judge. He was not in that, a part of that filming. He wasn't there.
Why did you think you needed to reach out to Mr. Combs at that time to participate in that opportunity?
It was informed that I should do so by Lorianne.
It was what?
Informed that I should do so by Lorianne.
And did you ever subsequently reach out to Mr. Combs about working for him
For making a band?
for any reason?
Yes.
Why is that?
Kalina was having issues and she wanted to get back in the band
Objection.
for dirty money.
Objection.
Hold on, hold on.
I can rephrase, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. You can ask another question.
Miss Richard, you were asked on cross examination about reaching out to Mr. Combs after you ended your employment for Diddy Dirty Money in the years that followed. Is that right?
Correct.
And generally, how frequently would you maintain contact or would you hear from him?
It would be sporadic.
In those discussions, what would you tell Mr. Combs?
That we want to get the band back together to hope that dirty money could get back together.
Why would you tell him that?
Helping out a friend at the time.
Is the firm Miss Harper?
Yeah.
Is there any reason that, aside from helping a friend, that you personally wanted to work for Mr. Combs?
I didn't want to go back
Why didn't you want to go back to working for Mr. Combs?
because it wasn't good and I didn't want it. But I was trying to help a friend.
When you say it wasn't good, what did you observe between Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura during your prior employment?
Violence.
Objection.
That's sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Miss Westmoreland?
Yes, Your Honor. May we have a brief conference at the bench, like 30 seconds? I'm asking this out of the abundance of caution. You might not have an objection. We talked about it yesterday, but you asked her about the financial contention of the lawsuit. I'm going to ask her if she's aware of the 22 million that was demanded.
She's already testified she doesn't know. She already testified. To clarify and provide context, in the demand letter that was issued on Miss Richards' behalf, which Miss Richard testified on several occasions on cross examination she has not reviewed, there is a 22 million amount that is included. But I don't think you've laid the foundation that she would have any reason to have knowledge of that amount, even though she said she never looked at that document.
Well, I don't think she needs to look at the document to have knowledge. I think she's authorized to the file suit on her behalf. I want to ask if she's aware. If she's not, she could say no.
No, you can ask some initial questions to see if she has any knowledge whatsoever about what the amount is, or what discussions they've had, I'll allow you to do that. If she has no knowledge about anything, you can't start talking about a number that I haven't seen and no one's seen in this courtroom.
Your Honor, can I add one thing? I think the number is so large, it goes to her credibility when she says she doesn't know that a lawyer asked for 22 million on her behalf is different than she doesn't know that a lawyer asked for 100 million, 100,000 on her behalf. One strains credibility, I think.
I think we have to take this.
Do you have some evidence that you want to put in to try to establish that she has knowledge and she is not telling the truth?
It's just the number itself.
That's not true. I mean, if she doesn't know what demands have been made, she doesn't know. You can ask questions. If you think that someone in her position would know what the number is, then there's a number of questions that you can ask to try to establish that she does or doesn't know. So you can do that, and let's take it from there and see if you can get to the point where if the witness says that she has been following and receives the updates from her lawyers and all of that other stuff, then we can take it from there and you can raise your objection there.
Me, and you spoke, and you did not object to me saying a lot of money. And as long as I don't say a number,
Sorry, can you provide context? I don't.
making sure that you're still in agreement that I can say a lot of money because that's what we made yesterday. I can say that amount. I can't say that amount.
I never said a lot of money. I think it's fair to say that she has requested money during her, as a part of her civil suit, which she acknowledged on cross examination.
Okay.
All right, Miss Westmoreland, when you're ready,
Thank you. Miss
recross
Richard.
examination.
Miss Richard.
Yes,
So you admit that you've reached out to Mr. Combs to re-engage in making the band, right?
yes,
And you explained that while you only did that because you wanted a relationship with Lori Ann Gibson, right?
I did.
Okay. And you explained that while Mr. Combs, he wasn't going to be a judge on that one.
I was only asked to go to one place.
So you were only going to one place.
Mm-hmm.
But you would agree with me that if you reformed Dirty Money as a music group with Mr. Combs, that if that actually happened, you would be around him pretty often.
Yes,
I mean, as a group, you guys would go to the studio together,
yes,
write together,
yes,
brainstorm together,
yes,
perform together,
yes,
radio appearances together,
yes,
TV appearances together,
yes,
tours together,
yes,
travel together,
yes,
hotels together,
yes,
travel from state to state together.
yes,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
yes,
Travel out of the country together.
yes,
Possibly, if successful enough, go on tours with tens and tens of different or 50, 70 different destinations.
yes,
Fair to say that as a group, you would spend a lot of time together.
yes.
And you're telling us that you initiated contact with Mr. Combs, right?
Mm-hmm.
To restart the group,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you're fully aware that you would spend a lot of time with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes,
Okay. Even though you're telling us that he made death threats,
yes,
okay. Miss Richards, before your first meeting with the government, you had seen that Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit, right?
yes,
You read the lawsuit.
yes,
And then you went out and you hired your own lawyers, right?
yes,
And you filed a lawsuit.
yes,
And you were hoping to be nicely compensated for that, correct?
for justice.
And justice for you would be money.
It would be to be made whole. and also to be paid for the time that I was with Puff with Sean Combs.
which
Mm.
means money.
Yes.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any further questions, Ms. Steiner?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Richard. Witness excused. The government will call this next witness.
Are we going on?
I think we was only supposed to do Miss Westmoreland.
Yeah, I believe so too. Is Sylvia? Miss Sylvia. Let me call her.
Y'all did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot. Miss Westmoreland, she put it down, didn't she?
Uh-huh.
Let me see.
It's crazy though. This case is crazy.
It really is, but Westmoreland did her thing.
She did. She really did.
I believe her and Mr. Steele can handle it by themselves.
Yeah. I
I
wouldn't
do.
be surprised if they show her. I mean, if they have her do a lot more cross.
Right.
I
All
wouldn't
right,
be
y'all.
shocked.
Hey guys, I gotta go to sleep.
You
Okay.
tired?
Yeah.
I know you sleepy. All right, guys.
All right, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I enjoyed it.
Well,
Um,
welcome.
Thank
Hmm.
Y'all
you.
have a good night.
Guys,
good
have a
night,
good.
Bye.
everybody.
Good night,
Talk to you.
ladies.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
night, Mimi.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, Tierra.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching that infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment